So, in an update, we have updates on a lot of stuff to get to. We have a lot of stuff to get to and a few updates. And we start with MLW, as MLW World Champion Alex Hammerstone sustained an injury at the War Chamber event and is said to he's said to be okay. Don't you know? He's said to be okay, but he is also said to be, and basically it's said to be a minor injury, and one that will not see him miss a lot of time. Pulled groin or something of that ilk, a very minor injury. Um, but also an interesting turn of events as it the report from PW Ponderings goes on to talk about the idea of MLW running a pay-per-view and working. According to PW Ponderings, the report also noted that MLW is in discussions with the potential partners to run a live pay-per-view over the summertime. An event has already been posted to MLW.com. It is unclear if that is the event in question or if there is another event set to take place. The event name is Intimidation Games, and it is set to take place on July the 8th in Philadelphia. Basically, it's just a question of, is that the event that they're going to run on pay-per-view? Because right now, MLW does not have a pay-per-view broadcast partner, but between now and July, they could have a pay-per-view broadcast partner. So that's something that we're going to keep an eye on, and hopefully I will have an update for you all in the not-too-distant future. But once I know more, you guys will know more as well. Speaking of updates, we have an update on Mercedes Mone, as Mercedes Mone's contract is set to expire with New Japan in the not-too-distant future, and as of right now, Mercedes and New Japan are working on a new deal for at least one more match, as New Japan would like her to work the Dominion event in June. I think that how do I put it? I think that Mercedes staying in New Japan for the foreseeable future would be a better thing for her, because the longer she stays away from American wrestling, the better it is for her. Number one. Number two is there is legitimately no reason for her to return to American wrestling. Like, she doesn't need to return. She could stay in New Japan, and if she wants to stay in New Japan, she should stay in New Japan. Honestly, she should stay in New Japan. Like, honestly, New Japan, it would benefit from keeping her. She would benefit from staying. So I think it's just a match made in heaven that as long as both parties can agree on the terms, there is no reason why Mercedes Moné will not stay in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now we jump over to Wrestling Dontaku, which Dontaku is the upcoming event in May. On May the 3rd, Wrestling Dontaku is the next event for New Japan, as Jeff Cobb will challenge New Japan World Television Champion Zack Sabre Jr. for the World TV title, and also Hikuleo will challenge Kenta for the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship as well. Those are the first two, as far as I know, those are the first two matches announced for Wrestling Dontaku. Or actually, I was wrong. Sorry. There's actually a lot of matches announced for Wrestling Dontaku, including including of course, what would a New Japan pay-per-view be without some without some without some multi-man matches. I don't know why it took so much for me to get there. But it is Roki Goto, Yoshihashi, Toriyano, and Yo against Evil, Yojiro Takahashi, and Sho and Dick Togo. Mikey Nichols, Shane Haste, and Koji Fujita against Great Okan and Aussie Open. Shota Umino, Kushida, Kevin Knight against Aaron Henry, Francesco Akira, and TJP. Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, and Bushi against Taichi, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Doki. And then, of course, the previously mentioned two matches between Zack Sabre Jr. and Jeff Cobb, as well as Kenta versus Hikuleo for their respective championships. The never openweight six-man tag team titles are on the line as Minoru Suzuki, El Desperado and Ren Narita against Okada and two partners to be announced. Tamatanga versus Dave Finlay for the never openweight championship, and if that wasn't enough, Hiromu Takahashi gets what I believe to be his first opportunity at the IWGP World Champion, and it is the first title defense of the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Sonata, as Takahashi goes against Sonata. It should be an incredible event for New Japan at Wrestling Dontaku. And we got more to come, and that is a Backlash update, as Backlash sees Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes and The Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and the Usos against Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Matt Riddle in a six-person tag team match. I think that it is entirely possible that the babyfaces win in the six-man tag, and the winner, the person who scores the victory in that six-man tag team match, will get a title shot at Roman Reigns at Night of Champions in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. The also unique thing I want to point out is that on May 27th in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, WWE hosts Night of Champions, and then the next day on May 28th in Lowell, Massachusetts, it's NXT Battleground. So basically, one night is WWE's pay-per-view, the next night is NXT's. So if you're going to say that people are going to be separated, I think that's an understatement that people will be separated. But also, by that point, the draft will be done and everything will be sorted as far as the draft is concerned. So we will have new rosters by that point. And I'm just hoping, well, actually, we don't have to worry about that because the Undisputed Tag Team Champions should be able to be on both brands. But it should make Backlash this year is, again, it's gonna be a special event, and not just because Brock Lesnar is gonna be on it. It's shaping up to be a good event, to be honest with you. One last thing to cover before we go, and that is that Becky Lynch was not at Raw last night because of aggravating a bad foot injury, or a previously held injury, and basically, Becky was there resting her injury. She's not set to miss any time, but she re-aggravated a previous foot injury, and that is the main reason why she wasn't there. Yes, there is speculation now that because Becky Lynch blacked out her Twitter, much like Drew McIntyre did a couple of days ago, that is something that needs to be spoken about. But, I mean, is it something that has to do with her contract expiring next year? I mean, honestly, I don't know. It may be something that that's flying under the radar and a lot of people don't know about. It may be that they're ridding themselves of WWE's insignias because they want to signify the beginning of the new era for WWE with the merger upcoming, which is something we will speak about in the next video. With that being said, though, I will see you in the next one.